Alright, hi. Welcome to today's kind of special video. So today we're going to talk about something that came up in Congress within the last few weeks. As you can tell by the title of the video, we're talking about another impeachment against another person in the current administration. This time, it's the Attorney General. This will be the 8th impeachment bill to come up against someone of the current administration. And as you all know, I'm only covering all impeachment bills against someone in the current administration. And so, on Wednesday, March 4th, Congressman Sri Thanadar of Michigan's 13th District introduced 3 articles of impeachment against the current Attorney General, Pam Bondi. So we're going to read the entirety of the impeachment resolution against Pam Bondi right here, right now. If you would like to read it for yourself, I will have it linked in the description below. But the title of the bill is H.Res 1105. Alright. Resolution impeaching Pamela Jo Bondi, Attorney General of the United States of America, for high crimes and misdemeanors. Resolved that Pamela Jo Bondi, Attorney General of the United States of America, is impeached for high crimes and misdemeanors, and that the following articles of impeachment be exhibited to the Senate. Articles of impeachment exhibited by the House of Representatives of the United States of America, in the name of itself and the people of the United States of America, against Pamela Jo Bondi, Attorney General of the United States of America, and maintenance and support of its impeachment against her for high crimes and misdemeanors. Article 1. Obstruction of Congress. The Constitution provides that the House of Representatives shall have the sole power of impeachment, and that civil officers of the United States, including the Attorney General of the United States of America, shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. In her conduct while Attorney General of the United States of America, Pamela Jo Bondi, in violation of her oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, to bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and to well and faithfully discharge the duties of her office, was willfully and systematically refused to comply with the law in that 1. Pamela Jo Bondi willfully violated Public Law 119-38, which is the Epstein Files Transparency Act, which states that all unclassified records that comply with the permitted withholding section must be made publicly available in a searchable and downloadable format not later than 30 days after the date of enactment. Of these files, no records shall be withheld, delayed, or redacted on the basis of embarrassment, reputational harm, or political sensitivity, including to any government official, public figure, or foreign dignitary. However, the Department of Justice violated Public Law 119-38 by slow-rolling documents and files related to Jeffrey Epstein, with many files being released past the 30-day mark. Additionally, the Department of Justice has claimed that it identified 6 million pages of documents, photographs, and videos related to Jeffrey Epstein, but has released only approximately 3.5 million files as of February 13th, 2026. 2. As permitted under Public Law 119-38, The Attorney General is allowed to withhold or redact files that contain personally identifiable information of victims or victims' personal and medical files, and depict or contain child sexual abuse materials. However, on January 30th, 2026, the Department of Justice released at least 40 unredacted nude photographs of victims, including some who were underage at the time. Additionally, the Department of Justice released the names, phone numbers, and addresses of the victims whose lawyers had identified in correspondence to the Department of Justice and did not want their identities released. Not only was the release of these unredacted photographs and information highly inappropriate and in contravention of Public Law 119-38, but these disclosures expose victims of Jeffrey Epstein to potential harassment and undermine the statutory protections afforded to them under federal law. 3. On August 5th, 2025, the House Oversight Committee subpoenaed Pamela Jo Bondi, requiring her to produce documents and communications related to the Epstein files. This bipartisan subpoena was legally binding, and the House Oversight Committee has threatened legal action against individuals who have previously defied its subpoena powers but have not yet done so in this instance. Pamela Jo Bondi has defied this subpoena and has continued to withhold files related to Jeffrey Epstein and his associates' illegal activities from Congress. 4. On February 11th, 2026, Pamela Jo Bondi testified before the House Judiciary Committee to provide testimony relating to the mission and programs of the Department of Justice. During the hearing, Pamela Jo Bondi misrepresented facts regarding the Mueller investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election and the Epstein files investigation. Specifically, Pamela Jo Bondi falsely claimed, while under oath, that Robert Mueller, special counsel overseeing an investigation into Russia's efforts to interfere with the 2016 election, found no evidence, none, of foreign interference. Robert Mueller did find evidence of a social media disinformation campaign run by the Russian Internet Research Agency, or IRA, and that the Russian Military Intelligence, or GRU, hacked the Democratic National Committee, or DNC, and the campaign chairman of Democratic frontrunner Hillary Clinton's emails, all of which Mueller concluded was done in an effort to swing the 2016 election in favor of Donald Trump. Later during the hearing, Pamela Jo Bondi also falsely claimed that there is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. Ted Lieu, a sitting congressman who was questioning Pamela Jo Bondi at the time, brought up evidence that the Department of Justice held that showed the witness statement of a former driver for Donald Trump who alleged he overheard a conversation between Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. The witness statement also stated that the driver met a girl who claimed to have been raped by both Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. In all of this, Pamela Jo Bondi failed to abide by the law. Pamela Jo Bondi has failed the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein. She has lied to the American people, and she has obstructed Congress in its efforts to hold those found liable in the Epstein files accountable for their actions. Wherefore, Pamela Jo Bondi, by such conduct, has demonstrated that she is unfit to fulfill the duties of Attorney General of the United States of America impartially, and will remain a threat to the Constitution and the rule of law if allowed to remain in office. Pamela Jo Bondi thus warrants impeachment and trial, removal from office, and disqualification to hold and enjoy any office of honor, trust, or profit under the United States. Article 2, Derecollection of Duty and Obstruction of Justice. The Constitution provides that the House of Representatives shall have the sole power of impeachment, and that civil officers of the United States, including the Attorney General of the United States of America, shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. In her conduct while Attorney General of the United States of America, Pamela Jo Bondi, in violation of her oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, to bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and to well and faithfully discharge the duties of her office, has willfully and systematically refused to comply with the law, in that 1. On February 10th, 2025, the Department of Justice moved to drop criminal corruption charges against Eric Adams, who was serving as mayor of New York City at the time. In response to the Department of Justice's directive to drop criminal corruption charges against Eric Adams, United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York, Danielle Renee Sassoon, the lead prosecutor against Eric Adams, Hagen Scotton, the acting head of the Department of Justice Criminal Division, Kevin Discroll, the acting head of the Department of Justice's Public Integrity Section, John Keller, and 3 other prosecutors within the Public Integrity Section resigned from their positions. Many have speculated that this decision to drop charges against Eric Adams was a quid pro quo. Eric Adams would comply with and even assist the Trump administration's immigration policies in exchange for not facing consequences for corruption. 2. In May 2025, in violation of the Foreign Emoluments Clause of the United States Constitution, Pamela Jo Bondi signed a legal option that authorized the transfer of a $400 million Qatari jet meant for Donald Trump, the sitting president of the United States of America. As stated in Article 1, Section 9, Clause 8 of the United States Constitution, no person holding any office of profit or trust under them shall, without the consent of the Congress, accept any present from any king, prince, or foreign state. The official costs of the retrofitting the foreign jet to meet security requirements has not been released, and Air Force Secretary Troy Mink told lawmakers that the funds would come from the Centennial Intercontinental Ballistic Missile Program, which is intended to replace the aging nuclear missile arsenal. By not rescuing herself as the chief legal officer of the United States, Pamela Jo Bondi violated her fiduciary duty in the matter by virtue of her prior experience serving as a registered foreign lobbyist on behalf of the government of Qatar. To write a legal opinion on behalf of the United States that authorizes the acceptance of a gift from a former client and foreign government is a blatant conflict of interest. As of February 13th, 2026, the United States Congress has not authorized the acceptance of this gift and has not authorized the transfer of funds appropriated from the Centennial Intercontinental Ballistic Missile Program to be used in retrofitting the jet to be used by Donald Trump. 3. On September 20th, 2025, the Department of Justice closed its federal probe into Tom Homan, who was allegedly recorded on video by undercover FBI agents accepting a $50,000 cash bribe. Tom Homan, who at the time of the FBI operation was being tagged for the border czar position under President Donald Trump, allegedly guaranteed federal government contracts in exchange for cash. When questioned under oath about the FBI probe and its closure by Senate Judiciary Committee members, Pamela Jo Bondi refused to answer whether the FBI received the $50,000 back from Homan if Homan reported the $50,000 on his taxes or if Tom Homan committed a crime. By closing the FBI probe into Tom Homan, Pamela Jo Bondi failed to discharge her duties as Attorney General of the United States of America. She obstructed the legal system from carrying out a thorough investigation and trial by jury of Mr. Homan's peers to determine his innocence. 4. In 2025, senior leaders within the Department of Justice advised the Department of Homeland Security to violate existing injunctions from federal courts regarding deportation flights to El Salvador. According to whistleblower disclosures from the former acting deputy director of the Department of Justice's Civil Division's Office of Immigration and Litigation, H.Res. Ruveni, they were directed by senior leadership to ignore court orders, misrepresent facts, and make false statements in court, and to stop sending emails to other federal agencies, as their emails could be subject to Freedom of Information Act requests. 5. In 2025, on numerous occasions, the Department of Justice took direct action that benefited court cases that Pamela Jo Bondi's brother, Brad Bondi, was representing. In August 2025, the Department of Justice moved to dismiss charges against a Florida woman whom Brad Bondi represented, and the case was later dropped. Later that month, the Department of Justice dropped charges against a Missouri property developer who was facing felony wire fraud charges and was represented by Brad Bondi. No evidence had been presented that Pamela Jo Bondi rescued herself from the Department of Justice's decision to take direct action in cases involving Brad Bondi, raising serious ethical concerns. In all of this, Pamela Jo Bondi has obstructed justice and, in the recollection of her duty as the Attorney General of the United States of America, failed to abide by the rule of law. Pamela Jo Bondi has shielded political and personal allies from the law and covered for Donald Trump's unlawful activities. Wherefore, Pamela Jo Bondi, by such conduct, has demonstrated that she is unfit to fulfill the duties of Attorney General of the United States of America impartially and will remain a threat to the Constitution and the rule of law if allowed to remain in office. Pamela Jo Bondi thus warrants impeachment and trial, removal from office, and disqualification to hold and enjoy any office of honor, trust, or profit under the United States. Last one. Article 3. Weaponization and politicalization of the Department of Justice. The Constitution provides that the House of Representatives shall have the sole power of impeachment, and that civil officers of the United States, including the Attorney General of the United States of America, shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. In her conduct as Attorney General of the United States of America, Pamela Jo Bondi, in violation of her oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, to bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and to well and faithfully discharge the duties of her office, has willfully and systematically refused to comply with the law in that 1. On February 5th, 2025, Pamela Jo Bondi established a weaponization working group within the Department of Justice, which would conduct a review of activities of all departments and agencies exercising civil or criminal enforcement authority of the United States over the last 4 years. Pamela Jo Bondi cites the weaponization by Special Counsel Jack Smith for targeting President Trump as a large target of focus for the weaponization working group. Jack Smith has testified under oath twice before Congress, most recently during his public testimony before the House Judiciary Committee on January 22, 2026, where he repeatedly defended his actions and stated that he expects the Department of Justice under Donald Trump to seek to indict him. Pamela Jo Bondi also listed Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg and New York Attorney General Loretta James as targets for the weaponization working group. 2. In May 2025, the Department of Justice opened a formal criminal investigation into Loretta James, the Attorney General of New York, for charges related to mortgage fraud. Loretta James had previously been successful in a civil fraud lawsuit against Donald Trump and the Trump Organization. Many speculated that the criminal investigation against Loretta James by the Department of Justice was retribution for her lawsuit against Trump. Ultimately, a judge dismissed the charges against Loretta James, who found that the interim United States Attorney, Lindsay Halligan, was not lawfully appointed. 3. On May 19, 2025, the Department of Justice launched the Civil Rights Fraud Initiative, which targeted institutions like public universities for knowingly maintaining diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, or DEIA, programs. Universities such as Harvard, the University of California System, and others were targeted, and the Department of Justice alleged that they violated the False Claims Act. 4. On June 28, 2025, under direction of Pamela Jo Bondi, the Department of Justice fired 3 federal prosecutors who were involved in the January 6 criminal cases, including the case against Donald Trump. In July 2025, additional Department of Justice staff were dismissed from their positions for their work on the January 6 and other criminal cases related to Donald Trump. 5. On September 25, 2025, the Department of Justice indicted James Comey, the former director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, or the FBI, on charges of making false statements to Congress and obstruction of justice for his involvement in the investigation of Russia's involvement in the 2016 elections. Ultimately, the charges against Comey were dismissed by the judge, who found that the interim United States Attorney, Lindsay Halligan, was not lawfully appointed. 6. On January 10th, 2026, the Department of Justice began a criminal investigation into Jerome Powell, chairman of the Federal Reserve, on charges of making false statements to Congress regarding the renovation project of the Federal Reserve building. Jerome Powell, whom Donald Trump nominated during his first term as president to serve as chairman of the Federal Reserve, has had numerous public disagreements with Trump regarding interest rates and the economy. On July 24, 2025, Donald Trump visited the Federal Reserve building to observe the renovations and, during the visit, openly argued with Jerome Powell about the costs of the renovations and interest rates. Donald Trump has publicly stated that he would love to fire Jerome Powell and referred to him as a fool. 7. On January 23, 2026, Pamela Jo Bondi sent a letter to Tim Walz, governor of the state of Minnesota, demanding Minnesota's records on Medicaid and nutrition service programs, including the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, the repeal of sanctuary policies, and allowing the Department of Justice to access voter records. In exchange, Pamela Jo Bondi alludes to ending Operation Metro Surge, the Department of Homeland Security's deployment of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, and Customs and Border Protection, or CBP, officers to Minnesota. 8. In February 2026, the Department of Justice sought to indict Jason Crow, Chris DeLuzio, Maggie Goodlander, and Chrissy Houlihan, sitting members of Congress, and Mark Kelly and Elisa Slotkin, sitting senators, over charges related to a video they produced reaffirming the rights of service members of the United States military to disobey unlawful orders. This blatant attempt by the Department of Justice to go after the free speech rights and to silence political opponents is deeply alarming, with a grand jury later declining to bring up charges against the lawmakers. In all of this, Pamela Jo Bondi has weaponized and politicized the Department of Justice, turning the highest law enforcement agency in the United States of America against its own people. In her role as the Attorney General of the United States of America, Pamela Jo Bondi has used her investigative powers to attempt to intimidate government officials and public institutions, as well as go after political opponents. Wherefore, Pamela Jo Bondi, by such conduct, has demonstrated that she is unfit to fulfill the duties of Attorney General of the United States of America impartially, and will remain a threat to the Constitution and the rule of law if allowed to remain in office. Pamela Jo Bondi thus warrants impeachment and trial, removal from office, and disqualification to hold and enjoy any office of honor, trust, or profit under the United States. Yeah, so that is Pam Bondi's current impeachment resolution. As stated before, in the beginning of the video, this is impeachment bill number 8 against someone of the current administration. Although it technically could be 7, because, Kristi Noem was recently fired as Secretary of Homeland Security by Trump, but also gave her another position. But in terms of his actual cabinet, she's out for good. We're not going to care about her anymore. So will anything actually happen with this impeachment? I don't know. It's up to the House Judiciary Committee. The chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, which happens to be my congressman, Jim Jordan of Ohio. And it's up to the Speaker, Mike Johnson, and Majority Leader, Steve Scalise, both of which are from Louisiana. Unless some form of a discharge petition is put forward that will force the vote, which I don't think that's ever happened in the case of an impeachment. So, that's all we have for today. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned for whatever video comes up next, and we'll see you next time.